Well, these things never go straight forward, do they? And this one definitely hasn't. We're having a few technical issues with Google Mail logging me out.
Google Mail, Google everything.
Yeah. Basically, all of this stuff runs through a single Google email address, which never gets used for anything. But it looks like possibly now stuff might be working.
Yes. Oh my god, guys, so sorry. There was like, when we first logged out, there was like 48 of you watching, and I might have sweared at Andy a couple of times when we were offline. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, we made a bit of a hash of this one, didn't we?
Don't include me in this.
Oh, well,
it's not my account. I remember every single password I create because I always use just one password. It's you who creates 100 different passwords and then can't remember a single one. One password. Changed like the end bit.
You get the team dynamic here. We win and lose as a team, clearly. Cheers, Ivy. That was nice.
You're welcome. It's all your fault. By the way, it's Andy's birthday today.
Yeah, that's right. Feeling particularly old right now, I'm not going to lie.
Very old. You have your beer?
I've got a beer. I need it.
I have a pint of gin by me. Obviously, casual. Oh my god, there's 50 people watching us at the moment. Well, guys, again, thank you so much for like logging back in on another link and sticking and waiting because we're casually 7 minutes late.
It was literally just one email address I didn't know the password for, but unfortunately, until I could reset the whole thing, we couldn't do what we needed to do. So yeah, thank you very much for being patient, waiting for us on that one. Yeah, it's just one of those things, really, isn't it? Thank you very much for being here. I hope you're really well. Thank you very much for joining us while there's a whacking great football game going on that we totally forgot about.
Don't tell them that there's a football game. Now they're all going to log off and go watch football game.
Well, did you just log off?
It's just your old tablet again. It's your fault. Everything is your fault.
This tends to always be my fault by the looks of it.
Yes.
So let's...
You get the gist.
Gist. That's the word, yes. You have to be careful with that one.
I don't get it wrong.
Skip the advert.
Okay. Oh, there's so many of you saying hi. Hello, guys.
Well, start reading some stuff out. Who have we got here?
We have too many people to mention, to be honest. Everyone's saying happy birthday to the old man. They're not even saying Andy. They're just saying
thank you very much.
Man, which is quite nice.
Don't look bad for 26, do I?
Hello, you little famous fishy legends.
Who's he talking about?
Mark.
So I assume he's talking about these two.
Definitely not us. No, everyone's saying happy birthday to you, Andy.
Take you very much. Appreciate
Andy
it.
had a smashing birthday. We went to do some shelf shopping.
Yeah, we went to bought some shelves.
And that was exciting.
And that was my birthday. That is the most middle-aged man birthday ever. What did you do on your birthday? Put some shelves, didn't you?
Put some shelves up.
We're having some real issues here, aren't we? This keeps...
You're having issues. I'm fine.
Well, I've noticed it keeps logging in and logging out again.
It's alright. It's okay. Can deal with it.
So we'll kind of crack on. Ivy's going to work through this because she's a technical whiz, apparently. And we'll kind of crack on. So first off, this is all about saying thank you very much to you guys out there who are watching this, who have watched any of the vlogs, watched us rattle on YouTube for nearly 3 years now.
It's been a while.
There are over 10,000 people out there subscribed to our little channel, and that is incredible. You okay there?
Yes, no, I've just read a very funny comment. Adam Fry's hand said, nice to chat to you both that are risking being in the doghouse this time.
Yeah, Adam's a good friend of ours, fishes on the white, and he likes a beer, and sometimes he doesn't go home on time, and sometimes he gets told off.
Yes.
We know who you are. So yeah, guys, thank you very much to everyone who is subscribed to the channel, everyone who's watched one of the vlogs. We really appreciate it. It's still weird now to think that we've gone past 10,000 subscribers. I know it sounds like we're milking this, but we are genuinely over the moon with this.
I've been celebrating for the last 2 weeks, if I'm honest.
Those of you who watched the video that we did, it was about 10 days ago, was it?
Yeah.
Last week, actually, this time last week. We put out a video this time last week explaining some of the changes that are going to go on with the channel, particularly with how we go about reviewing products and stuff like that. We've looked at all the data. YouTube's great. It gives us really good analytics. And we know that alongside you beating me at fishing, the vlogs that seem to be the most popular ones where we talk about products, new stuff that's on the market, stuff that you might not have got a chance to use before. And we looked at it and said, well, this is difficult to do while I'm attached to a brand. So, as explained in that video, we have cut that tie, and the response has been amazing. So many people sent nice messages wishing us loads of luck, which is really cool. And actually, the response from the industry was quite a shock as well.
It's really nice. We had so many people to get in touch with us.
Yeah, it's been really cool. We were, again, really surprised about that. You put out a post on Instagram asking people what products they would like to see reviewed first.
Well, I think I asked specifically what nymphing rod, because we're coming into a nymphing season.
What was the most popular answer?
A nymphomaniac.
The Vision Nymphomaniac. Yeah, it's one of those products. It's burst onto the scene. It looks different. It looks funky. It's purpose designed for a specific technique, seemingly according to the name. It's just a bit different, isn't it?
To be fair, I've been talking about it for quite a long time too as well. I was like, I always wanted to try it.
So Vision contacted us, and we're making it happen already. So if you guys keep an eye on what's going on the channel, we have a 10'3" Nymphomaniac, and we have the matching reel to go with it. And we're going to be reviewing this stuff really quickly. We're really, really keen to get cracking on with this and let you guys know about all the latest kit that's on the market.
We're going to do a review. It's going to be amazing.
They're two very relevant products. We've got a couple of other bits coming from other brands. It's been amazing how quickly the industry has said, actually, why don't you have a look at this? And that's going to be really cool. So ongoing.
It was really nice. It made us feel like we perhaps did the right.
Yeah, it already feels like we're doing the right things. So thank you very much to you guys for pushing us in that direction by watching the videos, and keep your eyes on the channel because there's loads of stuff coming soon.
Well, there's some people asking, obviously saying happy birthday to you, which is
thank you very much.
And someone asked if you were 21 now.
Come on, 19.
He was long on that.
Long gone?
Pushing 40.
Describe me as long gone. That's well off. Oh, he's spent. He's over.
You are spent like a good mayfly.
I'm not spent.
Just plodding along.
Freshly hatched, done.
Someone's Ben's saying, "Eopy dog."
Ayo.
Hi, Blen.
Blen.
Hi,
Ben. Bud.
Bentled. Someone asked why no Patreon, because I think no one's going to support us and pay us money just for the sake of us being us.
Yeah, well, but yeah.
Maybe to Andy, but to me, probably not.
I'd probably pay you not to be you. Is that one all?
And someone said to me, if I've dried off yet, that's very mean. That's very mean. I'm not falling in the river anymore.
Took a little dunk, didn't you? Little splashy.
Little splashy donkey tongue. Anyway, someone said that, well, Adrian said that I need a bigger glass. It's a pint glass. It's fine. It will last me 20 minutes. After that, I will just suffer through. Do you want to start reading the first questions, and then I will keep us on the comments?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So the whole idea of this vlog is we were opening up the channel to people who just wanted to ask questions about basically anything. I'm surprised actually how many of the questions were fishing related, because I'd have asked non-fishing related questions.
Yeah, true.
But we've had loads and loads of questions, so all I'm going to do is just work through them one by one from the back forwards. We have answers via Google, the YouTube community. We had answers via Instagram, stuff from Facebook.
When are you going to put a ring on it?
What, like a ring on the phone?
No, like a ring on my finger.
Well, you don't want to push it, do you?
That's the answer.
It's not your birthday. That's going to come up quite a lot tonight, because that's the question everyone's asking as well.
That's like, honestly, guys, if you are backing me up in the comment section and asking when is Andy going to propose to me, I absolutely adore you. Thank you for sticking up to me, because he's not pulling his weight and is not proposing to me.
Should we talk?
This finger should have a ring on it, but it doesn't.
Should we talk about something else for a minute?
Ask some questions.
So some of the questions have got names on, some of them haven't, so apologise if we haven't got your name on the question on the screenshot. First question that I screenshotted here: will you be doing a video explaining your tackle and tactics for grayling as you did for river trout? The answer to that is that because you've asked for it, yeah, we'll do it. It might not be that much different. There'll be perhaps a couple of changes to the French leader. Probably wouldn't take a dry fly rod out the whole grayling season, so perhaps we'll talk about more about indicator nymphing, stuff like that. We'll perhaps go into a little bit more detail about specific, maybe check nymphing. I must admit, it's not something we do lots of, but certainly I think we do things slightly differently during the grayling season. There'll be differences that are worth mentioning in a vlog. If someone's asked for it, I think we need to film it. It's as simple as that. So yes is the answer to that. I think we'd like to talk a lot more in depth about all the tactics. Actually, it's something that Prior to this trout season, we said we're going to film technique videos, more technique videos, because it's super popular. And then COVID happened, and then
Don't say COVID.
Sorry, that one. Then that nasty virus thing happened, and everything just went bonkers. And I've been super busy. You've been super busy, and all of a sudden, the trout season's over.
Yeah, it's done.
So yeah, definitely going into next season, more techniques, more tactics, stuff like that. Yes, absolutely, 100%. There might even be one coming fairly soon, specifically on indicated nymphing, because it's something that we fish a fishery that you're not allowed to wade, and it's quite difficult to fish the Frenchie or any of the real modern style nymph techniques on a river that you can't wade. So yes, definitely it's the answer to that. We'll go into more detail about the stuff we use for the grayling.
There's a lot of people in the comment section saying that you need to propose now.
Well, there is a question that's been on my mind for a while.
Honestly, Andy is going to be so uncomfortable this whole stream if the comments of proposing just going to keep popping up. But to be fair, Ben's stuck by your side, which I'm not impressed, Ben, if I'm honest. I thought we were front leader friends. That's what I thought we are.
It might be because you called him Blen.
Blen first.
People like him more if you call him the right name.
Probably.
Lever.
But he said nearly 20 years in and 2 kids later, Rachel is still waiting. Sorry, IB.
Quite right too. Treat him mean, keep him keen, and all that.
And Mark is being very flattering. He said, "Isn't it IB 19th? Isn't it IB's 19th soon?
19th
birthday? Not gin.
19th pint.
Get the girl hooked and in the net, Andy.
Are we still talking about this?
Yes, we
Come
are.
on. This feels like a total setup now.
This one comment says, "The best gift you could ever have is Yeva being your fiance."
Or a pair of or a pair of Sims guide waders. That's a pretty good gift as well, actually.
Okay,
go on. One or the other. So there's another question here. Sorry, I haven't got a name on this one. Do you ever cast a dry to a fish that you can see that hasn't risen in an effort to induce a take? I think that's a pretty good question, actually. So I don't know if we're out stalking fish and we encounter a fish. Hopefully, at some point, if you're stalking them, you're encountering a fish. I very quickly look at the behaviour of that fish and work out kind of a percentage likelihood of actually getting that fish to eat. And if you've watched a fish for 5 or 10 minutes and it hasn't eaten, in my eyes, that's a pretty low percentage fish. I think possibly I'd be inclined to try a dry over it first because it's less likely to spook it than a nymph. But if that fish isn't actively feeding on dries, then that might not be the best way to catch it. But then we can extend that even more and say if that fish isn't actively feeding on dries or nymphs, if it's just sat there doing nothing like the odd one does, then you have to look at that and say, well, what are the actual chances of catching this specific fish if it's clearly not feeding? And then you would fish for it accordingly. So I think there I would perhaps throw a large dry over it, perhaps a beetle or something like that, something that would perhaps provoke a response. If it doesn't eat that, maybe a little nymph that lands nice and delicately, if you're allowed to nymph it. And if it doesn't eat that, I might be tempted, if I'm allowed to strip a streamer past it.
I will say that if I can spot the fish, which is rare with my eyesight, let's be honest, I will most definitely just try and cover it with a dry fly.
Yeah.
And if I get 2 or 3 good drifts where I feel confident that I did my best in it, was in dragging, and and I feel like that was the most likely fly for them to take. And if they haven't taken it, if I'm allowed to nymph, I will check a nymph. If not, I will just move on and find another fish because there's no point in just keep casting at that fish if it's not eating.
You have to weigh up your percentage opportunity of catching that fish. Actually, this is something that I found more and more as a guide, is that my job is actually working out the chances of catching a specific fish.
You keep telling me about that as well.
Yeah, percentage fish. Go and search for, particularly on tough days, go and search for your percentage fish, the ones that are most likely to eat. And if it means covering a bit more ground, do that, because you've got a damn sight bigger chance of catching a fish that's actively feeding than one that isn't. That's just the reality.
True, yeah. And to be fair, I because of what Andy's saying, I have a few spots, especially on the River Wye, where I have banned myself from fishing, just because I have spent way too much time on those specific spots for the fish that aren't necessarily the biggest fish, but even if I would rise them, I would never hook them. The spots that I'm talking about.
But they are actively feeding.
They're actively feeding.
So they're high percentage fish.
But they're not, because you can never. I think it's all tiny grayling, if I'm honest.
But the thing is, if you're missing them, you can't blame the fish. That's your fault.
you miss the most fish in this relationship.
Absolutely no doubt about it. Absolutely no doubt about it. So I guess the answer to that is yes, but I wouldn't spend lots of time casting tries at them.
As long as you do a few good drifts, I guess.
3 or 4 good drifts. If they haven't responded,
I think that was Phil's question. He said my question. Cool.
Oh, cool. There you go, Phil.
And Steve Fox is asking a question that you probably, Steve, not going to be happy with the answer. Try to find the 12-foot Hemingway's grayling for a litre online. Seems to be sold out everywhere. Any other suggestions for alternatives?
Steve, drop me an email and I'll try and help you find somewhere that's got them. Andy@abangling.co.uk.
There you go, Steve.
I might know a couple of retailers that got a few.
Ben saying, do you ever go through periods of being disillusioned by fishing? If so, how do you turn it around and get the enthusiasm going again? You know what works for me? If I think that I understood the question correctly, you can be a proof of that. If I get something new, even as small as a new tippet, like a different brand, or even if I learn a new knot that I can tie a different rig, I will be so excited to go fishing. You've seen that.
Yeah, because you got something new, because there's a new challenge. And I think that's important. I think, I'll be honest, I can't think of many times where I've, particularly in the last 5 years, where I've been like, God, I'm really fed up of fishing now. I couldn't imagine that happening. But I guess that's because I spend most of my time on a river as my job. And I'm with other people. There's always a new challenge anyway. I've got a new person. We've got a new fit. Everything's constantly changing anyway. So I think what you're saying is right. If you're feeling disillusioned with it, change something a little bit. Try something different. Go out of your comfort zone maybe, or take yourself off course fishing for a few hours, and then you'll realise that you much prefer fly fishing.
Andy!
Sorry, couldn't resist that one.
Catch a few bream, and then you'll realise how much you hate it.
So yeah, I think the people I find who have got frustrated with fishing or fell out of love with it have just been doing the same thing over and over again.
A bit too long, yeah. Like, even with me, like if I was going to the same river over and over again, I would get not necessarily bored or anything, but I just wouldn't want to catch the same fish again and again and again. I could, because I know where they are. I know I can catch them because I already caught them before, but it's not really challenging. So like, try something new, try something different. Keep your brain engaged, constantly thinking of what you could do, what flies you could use.
I've got a question here if you haven't got one there. So we've had a question again. We haven't got a name on this one. Hi guys, what flies would you recommend for carp fly fishing in summer, and also what weight rod? So we'll go on the rod first, and that really depends on the size of the fish that you're targeting. When we've done it, actually we've used 5 weights because we know that the fish in the places that we're fishing for aren't that big. You know, a 5 or 6 pounder would be a real good one out of those lakes. So we've never gone particularly heavy. I know guys like Corsican Dave, who has done stuff on fly culture recently, really big into his carp fly fishing. I think he uses an 8 or a 9, doesn't he? I'm pretty sure his carpoon thing is an 8 weight or a 9 weight. But looking at the photo, he catches bigger carp than we do. So I guess you would kind of tailor your line weight to possibly to the size of the fish that you're fishing for. In terms of the flies, if you weren't going to go down the traditional kind of dog biscuit fly route, the deerhead dog biscuit fly route, which is probably what most people still do, in terms of surface stuff, they'll take daddy longlegs, they'll take beetles. I know that guys subsurface started to fish for them with little crayfish imitations or just little things with dangly legs. I know Jeff Hadley actually ties quite a lot of carp flies, doesn't he? I think they'll take bloodworm and stuff like that. In truth, it's probably not an area that I'm a particular expert in. There'll be definitely people out there who know more about it than I do, but you can go down the straightforward surface fishing route with terrestrial patterns like, as I say, beetles.
There's a good Facebook group to call it. Is it Carp Champions?
Carp Champions, yeah.
On Facebook,
yeah.
And to be fair, all the guys there are really lovely, really nice. If you drop them a message, I'm sure they're going to be able to advise you what flies, and they tend to use more natural bugs to catch them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Dog biscuit, so they will be able to give you some good advice, even on kit as well. To be fair,
yeah,
because they are doing that quite a bit more than we are. There's a question for you there. Thank you. Have you ever fished sea run browns? And if so, what video?
So we haven't filmed it, no. The culture of fishing for sea run browns, or sea trout we call them in the UK, over here is generally been seen as something you do at night, which obviously is pretty hard to film. I think that's starting to change now. I think the consensus is that unlike Atlantic salmon, which tend not to feed once they hit freshwater, I think we know that sea trout do. You know, the guys out there catching sea trout and dry flies. So actually, it might be something that going forwards, we've got a few friends who do it a lot and have been very, very successful this season. So maybe that's something that I'd like to. Geez, I've never caught sea trout off the surface before.
I've never got a sea trout.
You've never caught a sea trout, so that would be amazing to film, wouldn't it? If we could get some footage of catching a sea trout off the top,
would be really cool.
That would be pretty special.
Although I'm still desperate to catch a salmon.
Yeah, we still need to get you a salmon, don't we?
Someone's asking to do more canal fishing videos. I think now with winter coming in, we will have to, like, now everything's flooded. We booked, the only reason why we're drinking alcohol now is because we're not at work tomorrow. We booked today, tomorrow, and like Saturday and Sunday off to fish together for Andy's birthday, to do all the school filming, and
it's just rained heavily. Yeah. So the river's basically knackered for the whole 4 days.
Yeah.
So I think that was probably the most asked question, was relating to, are you guys going to be doing any more lure fishing?
And it'd still be getting here quite a few.
And I kind of understand that, because if you looked at our channel at the moment, it would just look like a fly fishing channel. And I don't think either of us want it to be like that.
No, we love our lure
fishing. We
both
love lure fishing. We just haven't done a lot in the last few months. The fly fishing has been so good. I've been so busy with work. And it's one of those things, I think you can lose a bit of form with lure fishing if you're not out there doing it. Like, it's a very touchy-feely technique, a bit like a French leader, actually.
Yeah.
If you haven't done the French leader for 6 months, you'll be rusty. And I went out and filmed...
not me.
Well, apart from you, yeah. I went out and filmed a lure fishing vlog on the Trent, didn't I? Perch fishing. And I was rubbish. And I put it out there because I wanted to show you guys that, you know, it was a bad day. This is the reality. But I was quite conscious that I was rubbish at it.
Yeah.
So
and you love your lure fishing way more than I do.
Absolutely love lure fishing. It really, just as much as fly fishing. So yes is the answer to the question. We are going to be filming more lure fishing stuff. And I think that will start from now onwards. Yeah,
totally. Favorite way, dry or nymph? And most difficult of the two to get it all right. And there was another question as well. Someone said it's a what is the word? I don't know what the word is. Sorry, it's my English.
Eggs. Badgers.
No. Basically saying, would you consider nymphing, like Euro nymphing or French leader, a fly fishing style? To, like, I would answer, are you fishing flies? Are you fishing flies? Fly fishing.
Well, the thing is, though, there are techniques out there. There's a technique that's quite popular in Ireland and lots of Scotland called bubble and fly. And you would fish it on a fixed spool rod and use a bubble float, and you would hang a couple of flies below it.
But I guess people fish on spinning rods and bait catchers and like jig flies as well,
exactly.
don't they?
So I think the answer to that is actually, personally, the French leader is right down the middle. It is the greyest grey area. It's clearly not conventional fly fishing because there's no fly line. I don't think it's lure fishing because you do it on fly fishing kit. I've often thought, and I think this might make quite an interesting video actually, one day we're going to go out and we're going to take 13-foot float rods on fixed spool kit, but French leader. So you can cast it, get the tip up, you can wind some line in to keep the indicator in the air. I think that'd be fascinating to see if it works, because I tell you what, a 13-foot float rod will be a lot more effective when it comes to picking up a indicator range.
There might be a little video coming.
That might be an interesting video, yeah. I think we'll film that.
Someone say that the indicator tutorial video would be great.
Yeah, that's definitely coming. Really want to film that one as soon as possible. In fact, I've got something lined up with one of the guys from Trout Salmon as well, so we're going to do an article on that.
Miss Danny Smith, I have no idea who she is, but asking, have you ever caught a ghost carp before?
Private joke, but in our local village pond there's a ghost carp that everyone in the world has caught apart from me. So no, Danielle, I haven't. Thank you very much. It's nice to hear from you.
Andy Sparks is saying, can't believe I've just watched 20 minutes of an old stream of yours before realising it wasn't tonight live. Wonder. Well, welcome, Andy, to this one. It's not your fault at all, it's our fault.
Yeah, we had a bit of a mess there, didn't we?
How is it with barbel fly fishing in Britain? People that do it, they seem to catch it. I have no clue. I would really like to catch a barbel. Something I've been telling you for last month.
There are guys out there who are doing it. I'm super jealous of it. Hector Rodriguez down in the southeast, he's on it really well. John Tyzak's catching quite a few. I'm trying to... we probably have got a venue that will be appropriate for it.
Yeah, we do. I think it requires a lot of time to figure it out as well. And because, for me... Well, you're just Andy's just literally. How many times have you been fishing this start season? Twice.
No, I think we worked out if you count going fishing as 3 hours without a guest or cameras, I went fishing 4 times all season.
Which would have still not been a full day.
Very
like
few.
A couple of hours.
Very few.
So Andy's barely fished because he's been working every day. And to be honest, because I'm trying to learn and be really good at fly fishing for like trout and grayling, I've been just trying to hammer that, like trying to get my techniques on that. So because I want to learn one thing and be really good at that before moving on to something, rather than, what do they say? Have like 100 jobs and I don't know the saying.
Jack of all trades, master of none. Maybe that's what he's saying. So yeah, I think what I was saying there in a very long-winded way is that in order to catch barbel flies effectively, I think you've got to spend a lot of time watching them first. Just time we haven't had recently yet. They're definitely on the list. Again, great to get on film, wouldn't it? It's so cool to
Would
get
be
on
really,
film.
really cool.
It's just spending time on that venue, and obviously from now on, the rivers aren't going to be clear enough for us to be able to sight fish for them, which makes it nigh impossible.
There's an interesting one for you from Well. How about have seen you miss the occasional take on dry flies? IB once said that she misses fewer than Andy because she counts to 3. Does this work? I've missed a few too.
Well, we've talked about this in private quite a lot, haven't we? I personally think I miss a lot of smaller fish, but I don't think I miss many big ones. Would you agree with that?
Yeah.
I have a very, very slow, lazy strike that came from spending quite a lot of time in New Zealand, and I think I just miss a lot of small, fast takes. But yeah, it's not. It never really bothers me that much, to be honest. I can't think of many times this season where I've missed a fish and gone, oh no, that was a monster. I can't believe I missed it. Whereas there are lots of little splashy takes. I don't know. Is the honest answer? Because I can tell you now, if you counted to 3 on a take from 6-ounce grayling,
you ain't hitting that.
You ain't hitting it. Yeah. So I think it's quite an instinctive thing. I think a lot of it comes down to there are so many variables, aren't there? The distance of the cast, the amount of slack that you've got on the water at that given time.
The rise form.
The rise form, the length of the rod, the length of the leader. There's 1,000 variables. I don't think there is a correct way to strike at every take.
No.
I think you have to trust your instinct a bit. Know what fish you've got in front of you. Again, I think I miss more takes when I'm prospecting. You're good at hitting prospecting takes, whereas I miss quite a lot.
I think it's because I'm just so delusional that every second that flies on the water, I think the fish is going to take it. So I'm always ready. So and you always have a take when you're looking away.
Yeah. I'm hardwired to fish, and every time I'm not looking, they eat. So I think the answer to that is that there isn't a foolproof technique. I think there's a lot that goes into hitting a take. There are so many moving parts to catching a fish on the dry fly, which is why I think it's held in such high regard. There's a lot of stuff that has to go right in order to get that fish in the net. It's very, very difficult. I think we sometimes underestimate how hard it is. So yeah, don't worry if you're not hitting them. It'll come, and you'll have spells where you'll just feel like you might as well not have a hook on.
But I will say it also depends a lot on the rod as well. I tend to see that if I have a really stiff rod in my hand, I will miss a lot more.
You'll miss more with a stiff rod. You'd have thought a stiff rod would be better at picking line up faster.
No, but like if it's tiny little grayling and little fish, I bump them all off.
Well, yeah, I guess there's a difference between missing them and bumping, though, isn't there? I think if you're bumping them, you kind of know what's going wrong, whereas if you're just missing them like I do.
You're just a bit too slow, aren't you?
Generally, yeah. I've got a question here. Again, I haven't got a name on it. What's the biggest fish you've ever caught?
Mine would be the pike, probably. It was 97
centimetre pike, yeah, from Broads.
Yeah, with Robbie.
Biggest fish of the trip?
Yeah, biggest fish of the trip, obviously. I'm going to catch the biggest fish. Wouldn't be me if I didn't. What's yours?
Mine was a dog-toothed tuna in the Seychelles that never got weighed.
Of course it was.
But it was very big.
Okay, move on. Next subject. I want it to be about you.
Well, I've got another important question here. This is a big question. Why is it that you hate bream so much?
Well, where do I start?
We don't hate bream.
Well, you see, the problem that I have with bream, they always look like they're full on cocaine, with their eyes popping, always like, what's happening? Always on alert, always eyes popping. I don't get them.
It's the snot. Come on.
I can't trust them.
They just
look odd.
I don't hate bream.
They look like a very ugly triggerfish.
You've just offended every single triggerfish on the planet. So yeah, I don't think anyone hate bream. I just, they're not my favourite.
Not the fan.
They're not the favourite, are they?
Yeah, let's just put it this way: if we had a choice between dropping fishing or still fishing for a bream, I think I would be like, I don't know, watching paint dry right now.
Oh, I'd rather catch bream than catch nothing.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't want to touch bream.
What's going on in the chat?
Julie's asking, will you be lure fishing again for perch and pike?
Yes, definitely. Yeah, we kind of touched on that a couple of minutes ago in that we just haven't done a lot of lure fishing recently.
We will definitely do it.
Yeah, it's coming. Stick with us.
Gabriel's asking, have you fished this whale near Richmond?
Do you know what? I haven't fished anywhere in Yorkshire for 20 years.
That's how old Andy is.
I haven't fished anywhere in Yorkshire for 20 years, which is silly, really, because it's just up the road. I guess the problem is, to get to Yorkshire, we have to drive past all the rivers in the Peak Districts.
Yeah.
And why would you do that? Because they're the best in the world.
Stephen's saying, can you do more educational videos? I started urine anything because of your 2 videos. Oh.
Awesome, thank you very much. Yeah, again, so it's something we kind of touched on. Yeah, we've recognised a pattern for the kind of tutorial style videos. Yes, there will be more coming. We had plenty of plans to do a few this year, and just because of what happened with the world and how busy we were in the end, it didn't really happen. But yes, definitely there will be more stuff coming, so keep an eye on the channel.
Connor saying, besides fly fishing for grayling and trout, what's your favourite type of other fishing to do? That would be lure fishing.
Yeah, lure fishing. What's your favourite type of lure fishing? Let's break that down a bit.
I think, again, because I'm a big fan of fly fishing and I like the techniques, I like the focus on it, I like that you have to think all the time what you're doing, I would say LRF.
You like the light stuff too?
I like the light stuff.
Yeah.
Chucking a big bait and then reeling it in, not really that engaging. Maybe fishing a nice jerk bait.
I was surprised you didn't say jerk baits, to be honest. Yeah.
I like my jerk baits because there's so much involved in it. You can change like the rhythm on how, if that's even a thing, to how you jerk bait. I do like a jerk bait, and I have a few nice new jerk baits that I haven't even used. You brought me back from Ireland, didn't you? Some Strike Pros, were in there.
I'm going to agree with you on that, actually. I think I'd go
jerk baits are a lot of fun, but I think still I would put jigging and like LRF stuff first before, even if I'm jigging with like big, you know, those the German baits that we have, the ones that float,
the Mobies, the Rackashads.
The Moby ones, especially the Rackashads. When we were fishing the Trent, and we had some big screw-in jig heads in there, and you can just jig them, and they were big, they were like 10-15 centimeter lures. Just jigging them and feeling the action when it hits the bottom and the line goes slack again. Like, I don't know.
It's technical, isn't it?
It's just a bit more engaging than just like reeling in a
swim bait or something.
Yeah, just a bit more to me. I don't know. You?
Yeah, I think I agree with both of them. Yeah, I really love jerk baiting because it's so active, it's so mobile. You are affecting what's happening. But again, I really enjoy ultralight lure fishing. That's so touchy and feely, and you know the difference it makes changing from a 1 gram jig head to a 1.5 gram jig head can be the difference between catching a fish and not. And I find that fascinating, almost as fascinating as you spilling your gin on yourself. Then how have you missed that?
I don't know. I don't think you can even see on camera. Now you told everyone that I did that. Now everyone's gonna know.
So yeah, I agree with you on that one.
Well, you go for your question.
What are your goals for 2021?
Get drunk. Do fishing.
Well, we're not massive goal setters, actually, are we? I mean,
we set very achievable goals. I think we knew that we wanted to reach 10,000 subscribers by the end of this year. We reached it in end of September.
Yeah, just about squeaked it in. Yeah.
So we did it in plenty of time. Like I think we're both quite conscious people to not set ourselves like ridiculous goals. We know what we're capable of, and we will just set realistic targets.
Well, we had an idea of doing a video a week, haven't we? And I don't think we're quite at that at the moment.
No.
But as we go forward now, I'm hoping, and don't hold us to this, I'm hoping there's a possibility that we could do 2 videos a week. One fishing, going out, doing cool stuff, because we can only really do that together at the weekend. And then a product review or something like that, maybe in midweek. So we might look at perhaps doing Thursday, Tuesday or something like that.
Well, we did have IB Tuesday, which I really liked.
Yeah. So that, I think if we were set an unofficial goal, it'd be trying to do 2 videos a week, but I recognise that is a lot of work.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work.
It is. And in fairness, like, you've been really busy, so I've been the only person holding this channel up, so yeah, you're welcome, Andy.
You carried it, haven't you? You carried it through. What soldier you are. Unbelievable.
What's the heaviest trout you have ever caught?
£9, 14 ounces. And that is a very honest piece of weight, and that was a fish in New Zealand that I weighed. I must have weighed that fish 4 times, and it never went to £10 once. I kept trying and trying and trying. I felt like stuffing a couple of gold heads down his mouth, but no, £9.14.
One of my most favourite people on YouTube, Peter. I don't know if I'm pronouncing his surname right.
Colthorpe. Peter's from Australia, I think, isn't he?
Yeah. And Peter, I love you. How many fishing venues are near you? Oh, so many.
We're so lucky here. We've got so much going on.
When we were living, when we decided that we're gonna live together, like years ago, and I mean like years ago, hence I won the ring, like loads of years ago, we basically drew on the map where we want to fish, what rivers we want to fish, and we picked a circle of where we can pick a house to live that would be convenient, not related to my work or anything. That's not that important, but where the fishing is. And we picked the middle of all the fishing that we do, but which meant that we kind of moved away from lure fishing. So while before, when I lived in Heanor, like we had so many lure fishing. You lived close. You had the River Trent. You have the Derwent not too far.
I lived in the Trent Valley, which gave me the Trent and all the gravel pits.
And canals and stuff like that.
Yeah. So where we're living now probably isn't as close to the lure fishing, which, to be honest, I think is part of the reason why we haven't done as much.
Yeah, it's because it's a lot more travelling.
Yeah, lure fishing for me was always something that I did very, very passionately, kind of, before work, a couple of hours before work or a couple of hours after work or something like that, because I was right next to it. It's now a 60-mile round trip for me to go and fish a canal. It's not the kind of thing you just pop out for an hour to do, which is how I always lure fish. So I'm having to kind of change my ethos in how I do it. But I am missing lure fishing.
I am missing lure fishing as well. Not even that. I'm missing pike and I'm missing perch and zander. I think they're such a cool fish to catch. But yeah. We will do it.
Yeah, we'll do some more.
Phil is saying, might there be some channel merchandise as a way of supporting you guys?
Ooh, that would be a good idea, wouldn't it?
That might be coming.
What an interesting idea that is, Phil.
Do you have cameras in the house?
On something there.
I'm planning on getting a little 4-weight outfit. What do you think to the Max Catch outfits? Cheers, Tom.
Do you know what? I haven't got a whole lot of experience with Max Catch stuff, but there is absolutely no avoiding the impact that Max Catch is having on the UK fly fishing market.
Perhaps we will try and get a hold of a few just to do a review.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, whether it's good or bad, we don't know. In terms of the impact, I think we know the kit's pretty good because we've spoken to a lot of people who do use, and they've all said it's great. And the reality is, there is probably only half a dozen rod manufacturers in the East anyway. So yeah, I think going forwards, we might have to have a look at some of the Max Catch stuff because it's making such a impact, and the sales model is so different to your normal fishing retail.
I don't know, what is it?
It comes direct from China.
Oh, does it?
Yeah. It's essentially, you know how we buy the stuff on Wish and stuff like. It's a similar kind of business model. It's essentially packed off direct from China, but it appears to be pretty good stuff.
Is it good?
Yeah, it is. So yeah, I think we'll be investigating the whole Max Catch thing. And yeah, we'd like to have a look at some of their stuff. I think that'd be cool.
Mark is saying my rivers are running hard and brown at the moment, chasing grayling with a clink and ding, but get bullied off the river. How do you approach a river like that, or is it a lost cause?
So no, it isn't actually. It isn't a lost cause. I think the clink and dink is tough because it only gives you the single fly option. I'm just going very, very technical for a second. The problem I've always had with indicator fishing and the clink and dink is that we know in a river, if we take that as being the surface and that being the riverbed, we know that is moving faster than the water down here. And that's a real problem for me because that means that fly is always dragging. Yeah. That's why I think the modern nymphing techniques are so much more effective.
I'd probably check nymphing if you need to. You would get down a bit quicker.
Yeah, and it will give you 3 flies, 3 presences in the water that those fish see. I was on the dove with a client earlier in the week actually, and we probably had 6 inches of visibility. I mean, it was terrible. Yeah. It was the worst I've ever fished it in. But actually, we stuck a freaking size 10 glittery shrimp on a French leader with a couple of the flies either side, bright orange beads, and we caught fish. Yeah. Don't get me wrong, it wasn't the greatest day we've ever had, but we caught fish from a river that we had no right to catch fish from. we looked for shallower water, faster water. By virtue of the fact that the sediment that creates that brown colour is moving faster, it means there's more light getting to the riverbed. And you have to remember that these are predominantly sight feeders we're fishing for. If they can't see their food, they can't eat it. So I find that in those coloured water conditions, the percentage fish that we've already talked about, the feeding fish, will move into areas where the light is getting down onto the riverbed because they can see the food coming at them. So we fished areas that are no more than 2 foot deep, bright nymphs, low down, fished them very slow. I overweighted the point flies to make sure it was fishing slowly. And we got takes, we caught fish. So don't write it off. Don't try and fish the feed lines because there'll be too much water, it'll be too thick. Fish the eddies, fish the slacks, fish the seams. No more than 2 foot.
Bombing through, please be careful.
Yeah, be very careful, of course. Yeah, make sure you don't go anywhere.
It's so easy
just
dangerous. To lose your balance, as I've
done
so many times. Your client Mark is saying, "Happy birthday, old man! I'm used to catching all the fish. We lost the 10K, and it seems like the next session he will be out with you will be for grayling."
Definitely. Thank you very much, Mark.
Do you have a question?
Yeah, so another question I've got a name for. What river would you most like to fish in the world? Would you ever consider extreme sea fishing? So I'm going to approach the second one first and say, so would I ever consider extreme sea fishing? So I get extreme seasickness, which I found out on a shark fishing trip a few years ago. So... As long as the boat's moving, I'm fine. The second they cut the engine, I was ill. And quote, I was so ill that the captain considered getting me helicoptered off the boat. He said he'd never seen anyone that seasick.
I remember that now.
I basically spent 5 hours unconscious on the side of the boat while Chris and Richard caught a load of really cool sharks. I was supposed to be there filming the experience and I was out of the camp. So I'm not a massive fan of the idea of sea fishing anymore these days. What river would you most like to fish on in the world? Oh, crikey, there's a lot. Pira for the Golden Dorado. Any of those Kamchatka rivers would be cool. Upper Karlovka or something like that, again for the big brownies. I would love to go back and fish the Arete in New Zealand. That's a long list. That's a really long list.
All right, Andy.
How about you?
I'm happy with any river, to be honest.
Just any
river, it's fine. I'm not posh. Any river will do. Bob, I totally agree with you. I'd rather catch cold than catch a bream. It's pretty much the same thing.
Yeah.
Can Andy tie an extra large clink and dink fly so I can fish nice big depth, charge nymphs and teams on a clink and dink setup? Clink camera on steroids.
So actually, do you know what? I have tied a few of these. I tie them on the original size 10 partridge clink hammer hook, which was the size of a shark hook. I don't know where Partridge got the sizing from on those. Tied them with a tippet ring on the back, and I used loon strikeout for the parachute. Instead of using dry wing or some kind of polyar, I used loon strikeout, the wool. The issue I had with it in the end is that you might as well not, because you're not going to get a take on that fly.
Yeah.
So why limit yourself to the buoyancy that you can tie into a fly and not just use a freaking foam indicator?
Yeah.
Because a foam indicator can hold loads more weight. So I actually think in that instance, once you get to those big weights, I struggle to see a reason for it, to be honest. I really struggle to see a reason for it. Perhaps in the summer, if you want to fish a pair of lightly weighted nymphs. But
very light nymphs.
Yeah, but for me...
Even the tangles will be just...
Yeah, if you're going to throw...
You have to be a bloody good caster if you want to
if you're going to throw big weights, go down the indicator route and there'll be a vlog coming about how we do that.
Nicholas is saying, what are your views on bead colours and what is your decision process between, say, silver, copper, brass, etc. when choosing a beaded nymph to use?
So this, I think Nicholas has also sent us this question, possibly by the channel. And it's a great question, actually. It's a really important question. This is going to sound really, really simple and stupid.
Suits you then?
Yeah. I basically decide my bead colour based on what I think looks best for that particular dressing. So the Duracell, for instance, I've tried it with different coloured beads, but it just looks right with that silver bead with the dressing. Pheasant Tails, I always think Pheasant Tails look best with copper. If you're using copper wire on the body, and it's just an aesthetic thing, I'm not sure it makes a huge difference for trout. grayling get a little bit more funky with the bead colours, and we find actually we use a lot of small orange beads. My baby pink has that very pale pink bead, and that thing slays. So generally, I go with what I think looks right for the way of dress or the way I'm going to dress the fly.
Okay, but I think like if I'm fishing a really skinny and clear water, I wouldn't be checking bright colored beads. I would go for something more natural that would.
So I kind of agree with you. The most effective fly, or the most effective nymph, when the dove was very low this season, was a bright orange size 20 Joycer.
Was it?
Yep, they freaking love it.
Stupid
they love
trout.
it. And because you can see it in the water, you can sight fish it, so you haven't got to throw the French leader. So I kind of agree with what you're saying, but actually not always. And if you think about Slovenia, all those guys out there, what's their go-to fly?
Yeah, no, I know, but I just think in my head, I wouldn't be an option that I would put. I probably should try it.
Yeah.
But I just wouldn't go for it if it's really clear. Like the last time when I was on the dove, it was so crystal clear. I've never seen the dove like that. At least my stretch of the dove like that. All I went was like the most exciting color that it got. It had a little orange tag on it at the end, but that was it. All the beads were natural and the flies were as natural as possible.
Do you know what? That might make an interesting vlog actually.
Coloured beads and not
an eye bead versus Andy, coloured bead versus plain beads challenge. That might be cool. I've got a big question here.
Yep.
Who wears the trousers, or should I say waders, in your relationship?
Andy does. Definitely,
You
Andy
reckon?
does. Oh, 100% you do. I'm like a yappy little dog that talks a lot but doesn't really have a big impact on anyone's life.
That's not true.
While you're like the authority, what you say that's the law.
I don't know.
You
I'm not
lay
so
the
sure about
rules.
this. I think we're pretty 50-50 on the water. See what I did there?
On the water.
See what I did there?
Not even funny. Stop with your dad jokes. What would your bucket list fishing trip be? We actually had a few of those questions, so you might as well answer. We had loads of questions saying, well, what's your dream destination? So go on, Andy.
Well, yeah, mine. I've talked about this a little bit actually on that Fly Culture podcast.
It's going to be a Mongolian pike. It's going to be a golden dorado.
Yeah. Either the Bolivian golden dorado thing, so sight fishing for them in small clear rivers, or the whole Mongolian thing, Amur pike, taimen. There's a fish out there called Mongolian giant grayling. That's 3 great words.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you want to catch them? Mongolian giant grayling. Get it in your bucket list.
If you're not friends with me on Facebook, go and have a look on my Facebook. I've shared a picture of a Mongolian grayling the other day.
Oh, that one that's like 4 kilos or something.
Absolutely
that fish
ridiculous.
Would eat this.
Yeah.
It was huge.
It was
so
massive.
Yeah, that'd be cool. How about you?
Again, I think my dreams are so small, honestly. I'm not a big dreamer at all. I would love to catch a salmon. I don't care on what river or in which part of the world. I would just I don't even care what size salmon is. Just would really, really like to catch a salmon. And it's been grinding on me for a few years now, hasn't it?
We need to sort that,
Just
don't we? We need to try and catch you a salmon. It's just one of those things that you have to invest so much time into, and I have so much respect for the people who do, because it really is time consuming.
I've seen a few pictures from a girl called Lucinda. I'm not sure where she fishes, to be honest.
Well, she's up north. I think they fish the Tay a little bit, and the Tweed, and possibly the Tyne.
Pulling the salmon out, I'm like, it's really cool.
Those guys have had a good season actually, but again, I've got so much respect for those guys because they could just fish for trout up there and catch loads of smaller fish, but they invest so much time into catching those salmon that I think they deserve them.
Oh, totally.
You know, they live in the area, they can be on the water at the right time, and they're there doing it.
It's dedication, isn't it? It's dedication.
They get described as the fish for 1,000 casts, but I think that's a bit disingenuous. I think they're probably the fish for 1,000 hours.
Yeah.
You've got to put the time in for those fish. You can't just expect to turn up and catch them.
Well, Christian is saying Abi have been amazing and deserve all the credit that can be given.
Absolutely agree.
Absolutely, 100. Thank you very much. That's very sweet. Are you going to come to Ireland? I'm sure you're going to go back to Ireland.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So, well, I'd like to take you over to Ireland. There's some fantastic fishing. I mean, there's potential there for us to do an Ireland series, which would be really, really cool. So we could do some of the bass fishing off the rocks in the south, do some of the loch fishing further up. We could move up to the north of Ireland and fish for the pike up there. I think there's a really interesting 4 or 5 days there. It'd be a lot of work, but I think it'd be a lot of fun. So yeah, that would be really cool.
Just a very quick one before you go on. Ever consider starting fly fishing still waters? So yes, I need to get a few more bits. So I joined a club specifically that has still waters that I could do some still water trout fishing. In situations like now where everything's flooded and I can't get out of the rivers. Andy got me all of his old stillwater fishing kit, and I have been to the stillwater fishing once. I went there, I pulled up. A really kind member decided that he's going to show me around, and we're there for a couple hours. It was after work, so I was there from like 7 o'clock, and we walked around the lake, and everything was really great. And then I had about half an hour of casting into a lake, at which point I realized that the reel and the line that Andy kindly gave me was not very floating. It was sinking very quickly and very fast. So I need to get a few bits of extra kit before I can go. But I have the sinking line and everything, and I have all the flies. I have all the leaders. You bought me some already made up leaders,
You've
which
got
is
a
very
floating line
kind.
now.
I have a floating line now, yes. So we just need to get out. I have no idea what I'm doing. I think that's my fear, that I'm going there and yeah, I have no idea what I'm doing. I have no idea. I think I was calling you and saying, "Oh, I'm in this water and I'm in this situation. What fly should I use?" And you were like, "Oh, a damselfly maybe," and something like that. I'm like, "Oh, thank you. I have no idea." So I keep begging Andy to come with me one day and just to show me how to fish a still water, so that I would go with like a bit more confidence. But he keeps refusing. So
That's not true.
Blame Andy.
That's not true.
Go on then.
Yeah, so I've got a question here. How come you never go spinning for trout, and why do you always fly fish for them? So one of the great things about fishing is there is something in it for everyone. There's all kinds of different tastes. If you like the long-term game of chess, you've got carp fishing. If you like short sessions and picking up fish, there's lure fishing. If you like the kind of poetry of fishing, there's fly fishing. I just don't.
Where does bream fishing go into?
I just don't really enjoy catching trout on lures.
Yeah.
And I've got nothing against people that do, because as I say, that they're getting something out of it that perhaps I'm not getting. I just don't really enjoy it. Every time I've caught trout on a lure in the last 10 years.
I called you dirty.
Yeah, well, I've looked at it and thought, God, I'd love to have caught that on a fly.
Yeah.
And that speaks to me.
I think in essence, I think trout are quite a stupid fish.
Well, yeah, they can be, but there'll be days when they'll be hard to catch on lures as well. So I think it's difficult to write it off totally as that. It's not how I like to catch trout, but I understand that people do like it, and if you do, you go for it, absolutely.
There's again a lot of people saying, "Are you going to do a more lure fishing?" We answered that before.
Yeah,
We're definitely doing more lure fishing.
Definitely.
We have a lot more cool stuff planned. We have some new places where we can go fishing.
Actually, I've been in touch with Dan recently, DB Fishing, who you guys don't know who DB Fishing is. Congratulations on going past 20,000 subscribers. That is absolutely incredible. I spoke to Dan recently. We did some grayling fishing last season, was it?
The season before?
Yeah, we did some grayling fishing. Dan was very poorly. But yeah, I might be heading up to fish with Dan actually pretty soon, and that would make a cool vlog. Cool. So yeah, there's definitely more lure fishing coming.
Salmon Gale is asking Andy whether the best way to lure fish a weed river in summer. I find the hottest days really hard to catch any fish. Any advice would be helpful.
That's on the subject of DB fishing. Dan Bucknell, he recently did a video that was called "Catching Pike Out of Weedy River." So
okay.
Yeah. So it's worth having a look at that, weedless rigs and stuff like that. I am going to say there, personally, I don't fish for pike on the hottest days. They're a little bit more delicate and a bit more sensitive when it comes to thermic shock and being caught in low oxygen water than some of the other coarse fish. So I'll be honest with you, the reason I can't answer your question there is that I don't really go for them on very hot days. Maybe during the end of summer, if you get a couple of cold days.
He's not asking for the hot days, he's asking for the weedy days.
Okay, so
I find hottest days really hard.
So obviously, if you're talking weed, your first option is surface lures, stuff that you can actually fish over the top of the weed.
Yeah.
So you've got that. So there's all kinds of surface lures on the market. You could rig weedless, so you could fish a shad on a offset hook. Savage Gear actually released some really, really big extra wide gates, so you could fish a normal shad, like a T-tail or something like that, through the weeds. That'd be absolutely great. Jerk baits, again, if the weed isn't right up to the surface, twitching a jerk bait over the top can be lethal. So they would be my options. As I say, DB's just released a video about that, so if you wanted to have a look and see what he says, I think he said pretty similar things actually. But yeah, I tend not to fish for them when it's really, really hot.
And from Mark, what are your thoughts on the alternative quarry on the fly in the winter, for example, chub, perch?
Yeah, so perch, yeah, definitely. And again, that's something that once we've done a bit of lure fishing and we're confident that we found the locations of the shoals, I would like to try and catch more flies. Chub, I think, are slightly harder. Their metabolic rate falls quite quickly and they're a lot less willing to chase something. Obviously, as a fly angler, you're pretty reliant on fish chasing your bait. Not often you're going to catch a chub on the surface during the summer. You stop fishing for them on floating bread during the summer because they just won't come up in the water column. They'll be down in those back eddies and stuff grubbing around. So probably not during the winter, but I would love to go back over to Robbie's next summer and do some more chub fishing because I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, well, we have a few videos of chub fishing when you were with Robbie and you were catching them on beetles and all sorts.
That was really cool,
that was very cool. Russell said 2 more beers, Andy will propose, and 2 more gins. IB will forget in the morning.
That's probably right, actually. He knows,
very
us very well.
Do you have any questions?
So yeah, I've got 2 actually here. This came from YouTube actually. This is Joe Dawson. So really interested to hear any tips you have for 2 specific scenarios. So scenario 1 is a big fish rising in a slow back eddy on the opposite bank to you. And the reason that's a difficult scenario is that if it's on the opposite bank, that means there's a flow line in between us and the fish, so you get lots of drag. So really, you've got 3 options, and I'll rank them from what I think are the worst to best option. First off, you can throw into the back eddy and make the biggest mend you possibly can upstream to try and get a drag-free drift. Sometimes it'll work if it's a fast eddy because eddies vary in speed. If it's a fast eddy, that's going to be really difficult because you've got 2 different flow lines going in 2 different directions. But sometimes just a huge mend and a bit of luck will be enough. Your second option, and probably the second best option, would be to approach that fish, just get closer to it, wade across and get close to the back eddy. Actually, I find back eddy fish quite hard to spook because there's a lot of stuff in between you and the back eddy. So if you can wade, just get close to the back eddy if you can. That will minimise the amount of line you've got to put in the flow line that's causing you drag. It'll mean you can drop more casts closer to where the fish is feeding. You got more chance of picking it up that way. Just quantity of good drifts generally is what catches your fish. My best option, and the one I will always chase where possible, is I'll just go around to the other bank and fish for that fish from the other bank. So if you've got double bank access and there's a fish rising in an eddy on the far bank, find somewhere to cross your river and fish it from the other side because it's going to be so much easier. You'll be closer to the fish. You're going to need more stealth. You might need a little bow and arrow cast or something like that, but you'll get miles better drift by being on that bank with that fish than you will any other way. So that's scenario 1. Joe's second one was arriving at a new, reasonably big river. You find a long, wide pool with a uniform, good pace to flow through it, but not much in the way of obvious fish holding spots or rises. How do you start finding the fish? Well, I guess you need to start looking for less obvious spots. So stuff like seams. There's always going to be a seam because the water on the inside edge and the water in the middle are going to be moving at different rates. So it's going to be a seam. Look for any boils that are caused by possible depressions in the riverbed. Because I find, particularly with gradient, if you can find a bit of gravel that's just a couple of inches deeper than the gravel around it, they'll sit in that depression. And if you can get a fly over there effectively without dragging too bad, you can catch fish just out of these little, couple of feet like that, and it'll have a fish in it. I think in terms of tactics, if it's totally featureless, I'd go in with a duo or an indicator rig that's not going to be too tangly because you can cover so much water with it. It's very difficult to cover water with the French leader, I find, because it's so surgical, it's so clinical over a small amount.
It's also very tiring.
Also very tiring, but it works best over shorter drifts. Whereas with the duo, with fly line, you can make a longer drift. You've got the dry fly and the dropper to go at. In truth, they're difficult areas to fish effectively, and it'll just be a question of spending time on that river, figuring out where those fish like to sit. It's hard. I've seen it on the D actually. Get these big long 100-yard sections where it's 4.5 foot deep, it's over your waist deep, and it looks pretty uniform, But once you start picking it apart, looking for the depressions, looking for a boil created by a stone, looking for just the inside edge seam, looking for a bit of weed, looking for these kind of micro spots, you can start to pick them apart, and all of a sudden that big 100-yard section all of a sudden becomes 30 little bits that you know you've got to fish. So try and break it down a little bit, make it a little bit easier for yourself, would be my advice.
Well, it's nice that you answered to. Was it Joe's question?
Joe Dawson.
Yeah, because he just commented, I think, the same thing pretty much.
Yeah, there we go.
Jack is asking, hi guys, have either of you ever caught a 3-pound UK grayling?
Nope. No, I haven't. It's incredible the amount of time I've spent in my life grayling fishing. I've not caught a 3-pounder.
I will have it this winter.
Well, we've got a chance on the Y. There's some big fish in there, jeez.
Have a chance on the dove, and Jack, you will know which stretch of the dove the club just got, where we have a good chance
is he in the club, is he?
catching a 3-pound grayling.
Is he a club member?
Yes.
Okay, so yeah. I got to I had a 2-pound 14 fish out of the dove. Again, tried to weigh it as many different ways as possible. It never went through. So no, I hate to think how many 2-pounders I've had, but I've never got 3. No.
It will happen this year.
We might even go down to the chalk streams and see if we can get one out of fruit, something like that.
Wales is a good place to go to.
Yeah, definitely.
Well. So Andy should teach you to still water fish, because that'd be a great video for anyone else who wants to learn it. That's a good idea. He should teach me, and we should film this.
I haven't specifically fished for trout in still water for 10 years.
Doesn't matter.
So
you're still going to be a lot better than me.
You could probably teach me that one.
Congratulations both on reaching 10k subscribers. Question, have you faced much negativity through YouTube or social media? And if so, what have you pushed through? How have you pushed through it? Have you faced negativity?
Yeah, well, yeah. I think we both have. I think definitely, yeah, we both have. I think when you go into doing something like this, you have to be conscious that you are putting yourself out there for the public. You can't publish a video to the internet and expect to get recognition or views or a little bit of revenue from it, and not be willing to take the shots when someone's bringing them.
Yeah.
And if it's constructive stuff, I don't really mind it actually. I don't really mind it. There's been some weird personal stuff, actually more with you than me, that was just silly, and it was so silly that it, again, kind of just shrugged it off.
I think my favourite comments, I don't know if I can say it on YouTube.
Well, no, don't say the words. Replace the words with blanks.
So there was like 10 comments in a row on every single video that I've done, and I have not deleted them. You deleted them. You went in and deleted them. I thought they were the hilarious comments because they weren't copy and paste comments. They were individually written, because either there was like a spelling mistake or a word changed slightly.
They were all original.
They were all original. So this person clearly went through like quite a lot of effort to make these comments, but it was something along the lines, she's nothing but a fat pig who likes blank by the river.
But always slightly different.
Only slightly in different way, but they were pretty much the same scenario.
10 comments in about 2 minutes, wasn't it? Yeah.
And her reply to him as well once was like, "Oh, what a lucky guy Andy is. Not only I like blank by the river, like I also fish." Like he deleted all of them. But I do get a lot of grief, and most of the grief that you'll get on social media will be because of my funny name or my funny accent. Will be, did you put it back? And then I would go, "Why would you think that I haven't put it back?"
Do you know what? Actually, that's the only time it ever annoys me. I hate it when people ask you that.
And most of the time,
it's so unfair.
It will be the same. I have not killed a fish. I've killed one perch in my whole life, and that perch was deep hooked, and I didn't have a choice. And that perch was killed, and it was a perch of that size, and it swallowed that hook. I was bait fishing, and that was that. And I cried pretty much the whole day. I've called you, didn't I?
Yeah.
You were a guy who was like, "I've just killed a fish."
I'm out there with a client, and I've got 3 missed calls from Yeva, so I'm like,
it's an emergency.
I'm going to have to answer this. She wouldn't do this unless it was important. So I was like, "You okay, babe?" "I got a perch, and then we'll throw it back, and it's floating. I don't know what to do."
I was devastated. Like, I can't tell you how devastated. I don't like to kill anything. So it was really sad. So I think when I do get the comment, there would be like specifically saying, have you put the fish back?
Did you put it back?
Oh, that fish is definitely didn't swim back because you're holding it and grinning and there's a picture.
Actually, yeah, that's you've probably hit on where we get the most grief. Actually, is that we are
and you're holding
we do those
fish
pictures,
out of the water, and I will have that, and that fish definitely didn't survive, and then I will be like, and one of the comments that I had was actually. And that really did upset me. Like, usually comments on social media don't upset me. That genuinely did upset me because it was a person who we met one weekend while we were both fishing on the Y, and he was very pleasant. He was like, I watch your videos, I love you. He totally ignored me, but that was fine. I didn't even think any of it. He said he was talking to you for a bit, and then the next day you posted a really big brownie you had, and you were grinning that brownie, and he commented saying, oh, it was me, we met the other day, whatever, like, hi, amazing fish. And then I posted the next day a really cool rainbow that I caught from the same day where he met, like 5 minutes before we met him.
Very similar photo.
Very similar photo again. I'm holding the rainbow out, and he commented below my picture saying, you shouldn't do this, you're killing the fish, you shouldn't grin, da da da. And I just replied to him saying, like, I can guarantee the fish went really well. I literally just lived the fish and I put it straight back. And in those couple of seconds, if Andy doesn't get like 10 different bursts, like, that's fine. The fish has already gone back. Like, it's not a problem. And he never replied. And then I posted another picture, and he posted the same comment again. And then I posted another picture on a group, and he posted again the same comment saying, you're egoistic, all you care is about yourself and likes, you don't care about the fish, you don't care about this. And I think at that point I was quite angry. So I screenshotted every single comment that he commented on my post. I screenshotted the comment that he posted on your post saying well done and how amazing the fish is, even though we were both having the fish out here. And I said to him, what's your problem with me? Is it my funny name, or is it the fact that I'm a female? And he replied something, oh no, I'm just trying to educate you. I don't have a problem with your name. I don't have a problem with your accent. I don't have a problem with you being a female. I'm just trying to educate you. And then I commented back and said, why don't you try and educate Andy? Why are you only trying to educate me? And I don't think I've ever had a response. He emailed privately. You never emailed to me. And we left it at that. But that was the only time when I genuinely was upset. And I still cannot wait to meet that person on the river. Genuinely cannot wait to meet that person on the river. I will have so much to say. It's just not something you do. If that's what you stand for, you stand for that. Don't push your narrative on other people.
I think what we do need to say is the vast majority of the comments are
very
positive. It's been 2 or 3 times in 3 years. And
most of them, like, they're not even that big of a deal. We just shrug them off, and it's something.
I'm gonna have to dip out for a second because I know what that is.
Most of the time it's not that big of a deal, to be honest, and it's okay. Like, it's fine. We can deal with it. We knew what we signed up for. But sometimes I think when it comes to being it a little bit more personal, it's not that nice. It's just not the nicest thing. I can't help by having a funny name. I can't change it. I can't help by having an accent. Again, I can't change it. It doesn't mean that I kill all the fish that I catch. Like, I have literally, I'm not trying to kill any fish. So there's that. We have, would you ever go muskie fishing or like to? I would love to catch a muskie. I think they're very similar to pike. I would love to catch it. That would be really cool. So we have a comment from Chris. Has Ivy sorted out her waiting staff yet, or will we see her falling in again? You're not going to see me falling in again. I have got a waiting staff. And Chris, why have you not watched my latest video? Because in my last video, I was using a waiting staff, or as I called it, a stuffing weight. So I have a stuffing weight, and to be fair, it's really bloody good. It's a lot, it's a lot of fun. It's very good. So, Nicholas, you're more than welcome.
Sorry about that.
Is that the food?
Yeah. So we've got some food on the way, and that was the call to say they've just set off.
Okay. People are asking about my staffing weight. One thing we would need to announce is the giveaway.
Actually, yeah, we haven't talked about the giveaway, have we? So yes, we are doing a giveaway to celebrate having 10,000 subscribers. And that giveaway is going to be a day for 1 or 2 people to come down and just hang out and do a day's fishing with us. And I think it'll be really fun. So that is the giveaway. And it's a real simple one. If you want to be involved in it, it's open to anyone. It isn't UK only, but you've got to be able to get here. Ideally, you'd be able to get yourself to Derbyshire at some point. Very, very simple giveaway. All you've got to do, there's a video going live tomorrow where I do some streamer fishing. And all you've got to do is comment underneath the video 5 important words. IB, very slowly, what are those 5 important words?
You say, because you're a man, it will come out nice and pretty.
All you need to do is comment under tomorrow's vlog, I am the trout queen. That's all it needs to say, I am the trout queen. And everyone who comments, I am the trout queen, underneath tomorrow's vlog, for the next 7 days, we'll go into a draw and we're going to draw it at random and someone's going to win the chance just to come and hang out. I can't believe we're a competition. How egotistic is that?
Yeah.
We're a competition prize because that's how great we are.
Competition prize.
I'm a bit embarrassed about this now.
If you want to
all of a sudden it seems like a rubbish idea.
No, it's a great idea. If you want to come and fish with us, your pick of choice for the river, Wye, Derwent, or the Dove.
Or lure fishing.
Or lure fishing.
Whatever you fancy.
Or doing whatever you fancy.
Bream.
Yeah, bream fishing. I'm out if you bream fishing. I'm out. If anything, I'm going to block you from our channel.
You are the bream
I am the bream queen. Yeah, no, it will be really cool. Just comment, I am the trout queen. And we will announce the winner on the next week's video, which will be Thursday.
Yeah.
No, Friday.
Friday. Always Fridays, 4 p.m. We've got so many questions to work through. I feel like we've been really slacking here.
We have been. Go on then.
So Chris McCafferty is again a regular viewer. Thanks very much for the question. I've got a bunch of flies I tied during the lockdown and never really got a chance to try most of them out. I don't want them to go to waste. I tie about 20 flies a week just to calm down and relax after work, so I'll always have too many. Any ideas? You need to do more fishing, Chris. That would be my idea there. Do lots more fishing. I reckon you need to find a bit more time to go fishing. So save them would be my advice. Keep them because there'll always be a time when you need more flies. Keep them in a box. Buy yourself a bigger box. Just keep tying them. Just keep tying them. And eventually you're going to come to the point where you go, God, I'm glad I kept hold of those. That'd be my advice there. Anything else going on in the...
Well, Liam Abbott is saying, please read out this comment. You're welcome, Liam.
There we go.
That would be £5. I will drop you an email with my PayPal account. I wish I could participate, but I'm stuck in the US. Oh no, Neo, sorry.
You can participate, you've just got to be able to
come to UK.
Get here.
I don't think that flies. We will do way more of these competitions. I think every single time we reach a kind of milestone in our channel, we will do a giveaway where you can guys come and fish with us. We want to meet some of you guys.
Yeah,
like it will be so cool.
That'd be cool. So I've got a question here from Toblerone098. I bloody love a Toblerone. Why is it you only get Toblerones at Christmas?
What is a Toblerone?
In airports. It's a triangular shaped chocolate that you only get at airports.
Oh, is it the one with like little bits of nuts in it?
Yeah.
I'm not a fan.
I do like a Toblerone. Anyway.
They're making like £1 ones now.
Is that right?
Yeah.
That'll do. I would like to start fly fishing, but I'm really in the dark and have no clue about practically anything to do with it apart from YouTube videos and a fly casting taster experience that I did around a year ago. Do you know or have any recommendations for me to hopefully get started? That could be to do with equipment, opportunities, and good fishing spots. I'm in Scotland. So yeah, you're in amongst a lot of good fishing in Scotland. I think probably the first thing you need to do is work out where you want to fish. Do you want to fish rivers for trout? Do you want to fish the big rivers for salmon? Do you want to fish the lochs? Do you want to find commercial trout fisheries? Do you want to fly fish the pike? And from there, build on that. There's loads of great information on YouTube. We always say this, and we're always a little bit biased, but if you're just getting into it, honestly, I would say this. Going out with a guide is money well spent because they will shortcut you through so many difficult things that would take you years to learn. A good guide will be able to impart on you all of their fly fishing experience in an 8-hour day.
But do you make sure you do your research and find a good guide?
Yeah, get a good reputable guide. Actually, there's a chap there called John Milne who's brilliant. John's been doing this for years. So if you Google John Milne or find him on Facebook, but there are loads of very good guides in Scotland. It's got a culture of good anglers. So I'm not going to go too in depth because I don't know what kind of fishing it is you want to do. But once you've decided what you want to do, personally, I would try and find an expert and just spend some time with them because it really is time well spent.
What's a good bracket to pay for guiding?
Oh, crikey. So I think most of the guys around here are all about the same. We're all around about 200 quid a day. And I think that's about right for most of the UK. There'll be some guys who are a little bit more. There might be a few guys who are a little bit less. But don't be too driven on price. I think what I tried to do is find a guide who's got relevant experience for what you want to do. So there are guides out there who, on the chalk streams, who might not be the guide to show you how to fish freestone, and there'll be guys who are doing a lot of competition style fishing who maybe wouldn't be the guys to show you how to just go and I don't know, perhaps enjoy a day's dry fly fishing and stuff like that. So I mean, we've all got our own little niches and stuff. So be picky about it. Don't necessarily be driven about price, but be driven about what you can get from that guide or what that guide is able to offer you, because that's where the value for money is. I think there's a big difference between price and value.
Yeah. Is it something that you gonna want to actually
Yeah.
learn from? Adrian is really keen for us to do a cane rod video.
Yeah, actually, it's another one we talked about this year, wasn't it? And we just never got around to it. I learned using cane, and I've always had a bit of an affinity to it, but I'd love to see you cast a cane rod. I think that'd be really fun.
Adam is actually saying, yeah, have you or do you have any aspirations to go into guiding too if the opportunity arose?
That's a good question. Ooh.
We have thought about it, maybe in like 10 years time, but not. I have done my level 1 with Angling Trust, so I can help and coach if needed. If you're doing any open days for kids, obviously now with COVID we can't do that, but if we ever need to do it in the future, I can do it because you're level 2, so I can work under you. I think if you ever decide to do something like that, I will need to learn, which is fine. I'm quite like a sponge when it comes to
you pick things up quickly.
Knowledge. I'm quite alright with that. But at the moment, I'm quite fine with my job. Any questions?
So yeah, I've got one from John R. Morgan via YouTube. It's quite a long one that I'll break into a few different bits. Could you please explain the conditions, water in which you fish the French leader and when you fish an indicator rig? He's also asked about the indicator rig. Now we're going to do a vlog on that soon, so I'm not going to approach that bit. But the type of water I will talk about very quickly. I find that the Frenchie is limited when you're in slower water. It's kind of reliant on if you want to get down, it's reliant on the speed of the water to keep those flies ticking along. Don't get me wrong, you can induce it through, you can pull it through a little bit, but it's drag. And that's what we're trying to avoid with the French leader. So I tend to turn to the Frenchie if I'm fishing, I tend to turn to the indicator rig if I'm fishing deeper, slower water, where drift management with a fly line isn't as big an issue. You can make effective mends, you're not having to constantly mend it. Whereas with the French leader in that water, I tend to find you need heavy flies to get down, but then once they're down, because there's no speed to the water, it's just constantly hitting the deck. Actually, it's pretty hard. And the other one is I'm actually finding, or have found, that if you can't wade a river, so we fish the Derbyshire Wye, we're not allowed to wade it. It's very, very hard to fish the French leader on a water that you can't wade. So if you're on a chalk stream or something like that where you're not allowed to get in the water, actually you'll find yourself with very little choice but to fish an indicator rig, because it's pretty difficult to fish a flow line on the far side with a Frenchie if you can't get anywhere near it. And then we've got recently I've been fishing the River Taff, frequently using downstream techniques, spiders and pheasant tails. I've caught a dozen grayling each trip, but they are small. Whilst that bodes well for the future state of the river, what I'd love to know is how can I improve my catch rates for larger grayling and trout. So first off, stuff like spiders and swinging nymphs can be really effective for all sizes of fish. I think that's fair to say. I think what we need to do there is look at the time of year that you're trying to do it. Look at the type of flies that you're trying to imitate, particularly the size. I much prefer fishing spiders early in the season, because the olives that we're imitating, and personally I think most of your North Country spider patterns are imitating either drowned or emergent olives. They've got a skinny body, legs and wings and stuff going on all over the place. When those March Browns, Brook Duns, large darks and stuff like that, even olive uprights are hatching, I find spider fishing can be really effective because you can imitate quite large food items. And at that time of the year, if you've got large food items, the bigger fish will look to feed on them. Once we get into kind of July, August, September, when we're mostly your olive patterns are pear waters and blue wings and stuff like that, I actually find spider fishing isn't quite as effective, particularly for bigger fish. I find the bigger fish either stay down and nymph or stay up and feed on dries. But actually, that mid-water stuff I find isn't as effective at that time. So possibly, John, the answer to the question is pick your times of year to fish your down and across methods. I think that's another tutorial we'll do in the spring. We said that this year, and then COVID happened. And by the time we came out of it,
too late.
I was too busy. But I would love to do a 1 or 2 part tutorial on fishing spiders, because it's a deadly effective method that with the advent of modern nymphing and drag-free drifts and stuff, people have forgotten just how effective spiders is. They are lethal. They are deadly. But it's fallen by the wayside. People want to do all the drag-free stuff, rightly so. So
the modern stuff.
Yeah, it's all taken over. Yeah, and spiders got left behind.
Trappers is asking, that's a massive glass of wine, or is it just a perspective thing? It's a pint of gin.
It's literally a pint of gin and tonic.
It's gone now, so I'm sad. Can we expect any more articles? Feel like the two of you need a regular column.
Oof, crikey! I don't think anyone would have us, would they?
No, no one would have us.
Wouldn't make much. Went fishing, caught fish, was good.
Yeah, that's literally my Instagram post there. How would you can we no, sorry, it's the wrong one. Casting practice for Euro nymphing when one can't access water. I think you answered in the
casting practice for Euro nymphing.
When you can't access water.
Well, I don't think. I'm not sure if you really could. Yeah, I think that would be difficult actually, because well, certainly the way I do it, I'm quite reliant on the nymphs touching down behind me and in front of me to be able to get any load and line speed. So actually, I think casting practice Euro nymphing without water,
really hard.
I think that's really tough. Yeah, because you're reliant on the movement of water to get those flies moving and be able to recycle a cast. Yeah, I think that'd be hard actually.
But Fly Fishing Merchant asked a couple of times now, have you ever been to Northern Ireland and fished for the famous Dolgan trout?
No, but do you know what? I've looked at this in the last couple of years. They're freaking cool. I don't fully understand what the deal is with Dollahan, but they look like really big kind of freshwater migratory browns, and they get freaking big, and they catch them out of quite small water. It looks pretty exciting actually. That is something I'd like to have a crack at.
Damien Robinson is saying, Andy, tell us about your favorite subject at this time of year, close season. Any tips for tricks to avoid the trout?
so no, not really. The reality is it's quite hard to avoid catching trout on nymphs during the close season. Obviously, you want to avoid fishing on shallower spawning gravels. You don't want to be catching fish off the gravels. That just sucks.
Yeah.
Fly selection, I do find that generally trout are a little bit more colour picky. I find your bright pink shrimps and stuff like that tend not to catch as many trout, but I've spoken to good anglers, experienced anglers, who disagreed with me on that. Your red tag is always going to catch trout. It catches everything. It's pretty difficult is the honest answer. I think the only thing you can do is make sure that if you rock up to a pool and catch 4 trout, move, yeah. Because there's clearly a concentration of trout there that's got something to do with spawning. And if you catch a trout, get it back as quickly as possible. We fish barbless, obviously, get it back as quickly as possible. And if you catch a second one, think to yourself, am I fishing in the right place? But it's no is the answer to that. I haven't found a way of avoiding them.
No,
I haven't found a way of avoiding not one that doesn't seriously detrimentally impact on your grading fishing. Is the honest answer. So no, I haven't. All I've found is that if we can get these fish back as soon as possible, keep them in the water, I don't think there's any harm done.
Next.
So JM, again via the YouTube communities, how does fly fishing streams and rivers in England work? Is it all private land? Do you have to be part of a club? Are there limits to members? Any info appreciated. So JM clearly is someone who doesn't live in the UK. So yeah, the system here is a little bit more complex and convoluted, and totally revolves around ownership of rivers, which is something that's actually quite alien to people outside of the UK. The vast majority of rivers and access to the rivers and fishing rights to rivers in the UK is owned by individuals. So let's take where we do a lot of our fishing, for instance, the Peacock. the entire thing and the rights to that are owned by Lord Hatton. And he devolves that out to the Peacock Fly Fishing Club and the hotel, and it's run from there. But yeah, we pay a membership to fish this amount of water, and that's pretty normal actually. Is that you would try to be in a club, and that will give you access over the course of a season. You might
get day tickets.
Yeah, you might have to pay for a day ticket, which will give you access to a private piece of river for a day. There is a limited amount of publicly owned or non-rights controlled water. There's not lots. There's a bit. Some of it's pretty good, but there's very little. The vast majority of your quality fishing rivers in the UK are privately owned, or at least the fishing rights are held by either a private individual or a fishing club to which you will pay to be a member of.
Okay.
Emily Glasgow, I'm 13 years old. My dad and I love fishing. I'm finally being taught by my dad how to cast myself in fly fishing over course fishing. Any recommendations on some cool kit for me so we don't have to share? I'm going to let you answer that, IB, because I'm being called by our takeaway again.
The Indian is here. I totally don't remember the question because I wasn't listening. All I would see was that number popping in and saying, the Chicken Tikka song is here with some poppadoms and it's going to be amazing. But I will answer some of the questions here. Craig Kelly, hello. Bob, if you catch a zander, do you return it to the water? Yes, absolutely. And I think everyone should return it to the water.
Yeah, sir. I'm just being wrong with look on behind Preston's garage and I can't see this close. And the sat nav is showing me it's off that behind that dual carriageway somewhere. So Preston's garage is on my right now. So where do I need to go?
So you're on.
I think, guys, we're gonna have to go in a bit because I'm running out of questions and it's running out of questions. Another one of the questions was asking for female fly fisher females that they could watch and have a look online and follow on social media. So I made a little list because there's too many to remember. So the number one female that I would recommend would be Lisa Isles. She is just a machine that can fish and catch fish like no one else that I've seen before. Then you have a couple of ladies, Susan Scrooper, her friend Larissa, and I think there's a lady with them, Susan, another Susan Hogg, who all fish downstream, the chalk streams, and they're all really cool and very friendly and post some really great pictures. You have Philippa Haig down in Yorkshire. She catches some really nice cool brown trout and she does a lot of really good fly tying. April Woki she's not in the UK, but she's one of like the top dogs in female fishing that everyone should follow, I think, because she's just amazing. Julie Bates, she's a guide. Lucinda Owen, I think we mentioned her earlier on. She's really good and she's catching loads of salmon at the moment. Jo Stevenson, Claudia Audley down in Scotland. I'm not sure actually if she's in Scotland. No, she's a casting instructor. Danny Morey, she's definitely in Scotland. She's a gillie for salmon fishing. So there's a few ideas for you we can follow and find online to follow. Damon saying, Abi, how's your tying coming along? It's actually all right, Damon. I'm surprised. So my left hand, I don't have any feeling in my left hand, like nothing in fingers or in the hand. So I found it at first when I started, it was really difficult for me to be able to grab like the materials if I'm holding like a tail, because I can't feel if I'm actually holding or I'm not holding, because there's no feeling. I would like think that I'm holding it and I'm squeezing really tight like in my head, and I would be like making lots of wraps, and then I look to the left and like, yeah, I'm not holding and everything is on the table. I find it really hard, but then the more I did it, I think the more dexterity I got in my hand and like the muscle memory, and I got used to it and it got easier. And it's not too bad now, to be fair. It's all right. If anything, I'm very excited about the winter, and because I can't go to fish after work every day, it's nice that I can tie flies every day because it's really dark earlier on. So yeah, no, thanks for asking. It's actually really nice. And I don't know if you guys seen it, but I was recently doing an article. I don't think I have a magazine near me, I did an article for today's fly fisher with my top 4 flies, and that was really cool because no one ever gives me anything to do. Will you do a fly fishing for pike videos? Yeah, definitely. We definitely gonna do some more pike fly fishing. I think we might be able to do it even like in a still water on belly boats. We're working on that one now. Russell saying the delivery is lost. I wish. We live in the middle of like nowhere. There's no Deliveroo or like what's the other one, like Just Eat. Like there's no food that gets delivered by like the main delivery companies. It's all very old fashioned here. Even if it's an invasive species, a zander is illegal to return. Well, it's not actually illegal to return. If you read into the law, it's a little bit more complicated than that. And even the EA don't really say to not return the zander. It's a very controversial subject. I wouldn't recommend killing a zander. I think they've been there long enough. But again, that's my thoughts. Rose saying, love the channel, guys, and your mind of knowledge. And Andy, you're a mine of knowledge fella. Thanks for sharing. That was really difficult to read. What takeaway did you go for? What takeaway did you go for? It's an Indian. It's a chicken tikka sag ×2 with some poppadoms and some pickled onions. And Andy's trying to sneak away like a ninja over the table that he's clearly gonna break.
Good. This is so professional.
IB, I love watching your videos because it shows much better what it's like for a novice, even though you appear to be very skilled, unlike Andy, who's a natural or pro. I think that is quite true though, isn't it? Like, I'm very new to this, and I do hope that if people are watching me, hello.
Hello again.
I do hope that if people are watching me, that they feel a little bit more relatable, like, oh, she's only been doing this for a couple of years and she can go out there and catch fish and it's okay, and she catches fish and she has lots of fun, and I hope that's like relatable to people and they can think it's not miserable.
Well, you definitely enjoy it, that's for sure. I just want to very quickly come back to Emily's question because I don't want to leave Emily, who's 13 in Glasgow, hanging here.
Sorry.
So Emily has asked, any recommendations on some cool kit for me so we don't have to share? Emily's 13 years old, just learning to fly fish.
So I guess it depends, Emily, where do you fish, what do you fish?
Yeah, again, it's going to come down to what kind of fishing you want to do. And I tell you what, if you wanted to drop IB a message or something, just get in touch.
Me.
Yeah.
I will let you know what you might need. Just message me what you're
we
fishing
can help.
for. Yeah, just get in touch with me.
I've got one here. Where is IB from? How did IB get into fishing? Why don't more ladies fish?
Go on then. Answer.
IB's from Ashbourne.
Middle of nowhere.
IB's originally from Lithuania, now lives in Derbyshire. You got into fishing through me, really, is the truth. And why don't more ladies fish? That's a big question, isn't it? Why, IB, why don't more ladies fish?
I don't know. But I don't like to blame men for the sake of that ladies are not fishing. It's 2020. We're strong, independent females. If we want to go fishing, we will go fishing. More and more companies are including female fishing. I know for a fact that I have a massive advantage, the fact that I'm a female and I have a pair of tits, which are great, by the way, to help me in the fly fishing industry or just in the fishing industry. I have an advantage just because I'm a female. So to say that, oh, I'm a poor female damsel in distress, please help me, that would be really unfair because I know that I'm already more advanced because there's less of me. I don't know, but perhaps we're not targeting correctly. Like, I got into fishing because Andy brought me into fishing. Most of the female fishermen that we know, they got into fishing because of their dads or their partners. So perhaps we need to target a bit more directly towards the men. Take your wife or your daughter or I don't know, your granddaughter out fishing, and try to get it that way. I'm not sure. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, well, yeah, I think it's probably a lot of different things. I think that's probably that kind of patriarchal thing of all men go fishing to get away from their wives. And you know, as Ivy said, it's 2020. Stuff like this is rubbish now. But I do think, particularly fly fishing, still has this kind of post-colonial remnant feeling about it, kind of archaic rubbish. but there are some great people out there. Actually, one of the questions we got asked was, other than IB and Marina Gibson from Northern Fishing School.
Already answered.
Have you?
Yes.
Do you know the one already?
Read the whole list.
So yeah, there is a huge list now of really good quality female anglers who are out there doing it. You know, not just sat talking about it, but actually out there fishing and catching fish and showing people how cool it is. And long may that continue, because I think there needs to be a balance here. I think there needs to be a female perspective in fly fishing, and I think people like yourself and Susan and Marina and Joe and Philippa are gonna help to just I just find women come at things from a slightly different angle, and it's really refreshing.
Well, Peter said an interesting thing. He said, no, not Peter, I think it was Will who said it. More ladies don't fish because most venues don't provide toilets.
Well, yeah, that's a great thing. Yeah, if you're a lady, you need some facilities, really, and that is the reality. Or you've got to be brave enough to
a bush.
Yeah, brave enough to pee in the woods. Which,
not ideal in winter.
Yeah, I can totally understand why women wouldn't want to do that. It's not quite as straightforward for a chick as it is for a bloke. So I get it. I understand why that's a stumbling block.
Yeah. My wife fishes with me all the time. Only time we get together with work commitments. It's great. It's great. As long even if you get 3 days in a year to fish with your wife, and that's something you do together, it's so amazing. It's so cool. Such a cool thing to share.
Brilliant. Yeah, absolutely.
Any plans for creating some super funky merch? Yes.
There's an idea.
Okay, last few questions, and we're gonna have to sign off and go eat our food.
Yeah. Okay. So I think there's a channel relevant one here that I want to approach from Russell Thompson. Thank you very much for the question. Will you still use the same kit now you're not being sponsored, or are there other rods you would like to try? So short to mid-term, the visual part of the channel probably isn't going to change much. We're still going to be, we've got all the kit that we need, really. We don't really need any more kit, even that, we're very grateful for Vision for sending this stuff for us to review. Once we've reviewed it, we're sending it straight back. We don't need any more kit.
We have so much kit. We're not greedy. We don't need to have a house full of kit.
It's good kit. So there's no need for us to change it. I'm not one of these who changes rods every 6 months. I don't think it's a good thing to do.
Don't get me wrong. I think if I fall in love with something.
Yeah, that's the nice thing about trying more kit is there's a possibility that we might pick up a rod one day and go, oh God, I actually much prefer that. But for the time being, I don't think it's going to change too much. We'll be reviewing more kit and stuff like that. But to be honest, my guiding clients and the channel, it's probably not going to look that different. I don't think.
No, they're not okay. Like I love my waders, Sierra waders. Like the waders that I have right now are the best waders that I had, and I'm so pleased with them, and I wouldn't want to change them.
Yeah.
Even though they're not female waders, even they're just waders.
They're just waders, but they fit really nicely and they work well. So why not wear them?
John Brooks, you said give the kit away in comps or something. Well, we're giving ourselves away in competitions. Are you trying to say that we are not good enough here?
Well, the thing is, we've got just about enough kit. I think we've got the right amount of kit. I tend to keep an outfit of each rigged up for clients, so I need that amount of kit. You've got a couple of rods. I think people have got this image that we've got like thousands of fishing rods. And it's not really true. We've got enough. We've got the amount.
It's just 2,000. There's not thousands.
We've got the amount of kit I need for guiding, plus your kit.
Yeah,
really.
Yeah, and in fairness, you don't even have many spares for your guiding either, because if Andy's going somewhere and they're just going to have like 3 or 4 clients, you will borrow my kit.
Yeah, I still have to use your kit sometimes. So yeah, some of the kit's got your name on it. So
it says IB on it.
Let's get yours rods
personalised. If you are an Andy's client watching this right now and you fish with a rod called IB, I hope you were careful.
What have you got there, IB?
You get a few comments from the list that I sent you.
So who's your favourite female angler? Well, mine is IB.
Oh, Andy, you can't use me because, we live together.
Yeah, but you are my favourite female angler.
My dad doesn't work like that.
Who's your favourite female angler? Well, I think we're both probably say the same thing, wouldn't we? We're both good friends with a woman called Lisa Riles, who she's had a bit of a break recently because she's been doing loads of super hard work stuff. But for a good period was, in my eyes, the best female angler in the UK.
Still is.
It's as simple as that.
I fished with her now a couple of times. She's
very good.
Mind blowing.
She's very good.
She will catch fish adult puddle on
Yeah,
the road.
yeah. So it's been great hanging out with Lisa. We'll spend more time with her. She's very, very good, and she, willing to share knowledge, willing to listen to stuff. Just a cool person, actually. So I think Lisa, Philippa's really cool as well.
Yeah,
Spend some
Philippa,
time with
hey,
Philippa.
if anything, I need to get Philippa so she could teach me like more time flies.
Yeah, that'd be really cool. Do you guys do any day trips with clients? I want to improve my Euro nymphing technique. So
That's Andy's full-time job.
So yeah, that is my full-time job. I'm a full-time fishing guide. www.abangling.co.uk. If you want any more information on that, that was a shameless plug, wasn't it?
That was
Look
a shameless
at that,
plug.
no shame at all. Will you ever try sea fishing for sea trout? So actually, that's something we talked about with a friend of mine, Brad Chalmers. He's getting it cracked up in Scotland, and I know the guys in Scandinavia do a lot of it. So yeah, actually, maybe in the future. If you go back to Fisty Chalk streams, probably for grayling this winter.
Yeah,
we saw some big grayling down there. We need to go back.
We nearly got out this weekend there.
Yeah. Dream destination, I think we've already touched
Covered,
on.
yeah.
Instructional stuff we've touched on. What's your real life jobs? I'm a full-time fishing guide. What's your real life job?
My real life job title is a bit complicated. I'm a senior consultant.
You work in recruitment, don't you?
I work in recruitment in Nottingham.
Do you have any trips booked for next year? Are you going back to Slovenia? Nothing booked yet. We're not making any plans until the world has just settled down a little bit, are we?
Yeah, we're a bit. Yeah, I wouldn't fancy traveling. If anything, I'm quite sad. My sister's is getting married on this Saturday, and I can't go to her wedding because I can't.
Yeah, the travel's just not feasible, is it? Will you do more pike fishing videos? Yes, absolutely. And I'm going to let you wrap up with the last one.
Okay. Who's IB's favorite male angler?
That's a good question. Actually, I don't know.
would say Robbie.
Robbie Northman.
Robbie Northman.
Okay, yeah.
It's like I wish he was my kid. He's the nicest guy.
Spirit animal.
Yeah, so Robbie, and then just a few more. Will you do any lure fishing? So we answered that. We're definitely going to do more lure fishing. I don't think we're going to do any dead baiting anytime soon.
I think that'd be quite cool, actually. That crossed my mind. If you don't want to do that, it's fine. But I might go and throw some deads this winter. The gravel pits that I kind of grew up learning to lure fish on, I don't think have fished as well in the last 5-6 years.
Basically, you're telling me that I ruined them.
Well, I've been struggling on those pits. So actually, a couple of sessions on the dead baits just to reassure myself they are still there, might not hurt. So yeah, I may well film that. That might be quite cool.
And last question: do you have any hobbies other than fishing? I have a hobby. I like working out, either in the gym lifting weights, or now because I can't go to the gym, I will do some running or some online classes and work out at home. That's pretty much my hobby, isn't it?
Yeah.
And drinking alcohol.
It doesn't really count as a hobby, does it? We shouldn't do.
It's like a part-time job, to be honest.
It's a problem, not a hobby. I wish I had time for a second hobby. I used to play a lot of cricket, but I had to kind of can that in when the fishing got real serious and started working in shops and stuff. So really, it's fishing in this house, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think that will be it, guys. We've been online for nearly 2 hours.
Has it really been nearly 2 hours?
Nearly 2 hours,
goodness.
and we still have 75 people watching us, which is amazing. I don't know how you haven't fallen asleep. I'm dying for a pee right now, and have been for the last hour. So if I die,
the room smells of chicken tikka sarg right now. It's beautiful.
Nice. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Honestly, we are so grateful for everyone who comments, who likes, who shares the videos, who messages on Instagram or on Facebook or comments on YouTube. We just love it, don't we?
It never gets old.
No, it feels like such a little family all the time. Like Andy, it's Andy's birthday today, and you had a lovely present from your client.
Yeah, just a really nice present from a client, and people getting in touch that you don't really know, saying happy birthday.
We had a subscriber recently. You were guiding, and I went to drop some kit off to Andy while he was guiding, and he gave us 2 lovely flies that he tagged specifically for us. It's so heartwarming. I think we never expected, and we're just never going to get used to it.
Very grateful for it. And part of that giving back process is making as many videos as possible and doing the giveaway. IB, remind us how people enter the giveaway.
You enter the giveaway by commenting, "I am the trout queen," in the video that's coming out next week on Friday.
Well, you've not quite got that right.
It's coming out.
The video's coming out tomorrow.
Yes, and we're announcing it next Friday.
You had a drink?
Yes, I have.
So yeah, there's a video dropping tomorrow where I catch a load of trout and streamers. What do we say?
I am the trout queen.
In the comment section, we'll put you into the draw. We'll do a random draw. And this time next week, we'll announce who is the winner of the competition. I really think we need to let these people get on
Yes.
their evenings now. Guys, thank you so much for watching. I'm going to nip behind the camera so I can turn it off. IB's going to wrap this up. Thank you very much, and we'll see you again very, very soon. Don't forget about the competition.
We just said Lisa answered she's the best like angler ever, and she's like, thanks guys, enjoy your takeaway.
Oh, bless
Lisa,
her.
I'm going to call you if you're not asleep.
Guys, I'm going to let you wrap this up. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you again. Well, I'll see you again tomorrow in this vlog, and hopefully we'll see you on a live again very, very soon.
Well, people are saying great lives. Well, I hope you comment that you're a trout queen, and next day, I'm going to be watching the video, watching your comments, and every single time you comment that you're a trout queen, I will be commenting, no you're not, I am. Guys, thank you so much for watching. I will see you next time.